Abiodun Christine Olujimi. I am from Ekiti State, and I've had to contest within the Ekiti South Senatorial District. I am a politician. I used to be a journalist and a political scientist, but I'm now a politician, and I was a two-term senator. I was a deputy governor. I was a member of the House of Reps. I was a commissioner for works. I was the national publicity secretary of two political parties, the National Centre Party of Nigeria and the All People's Party, APP, before I came into the PDP. And currently, I'm not in the Senate, but when I was in the Senate for 8 years, I was also minority leader of the Senate. Like I said, I've been a journalist all my life. I have a degree in political science. I do in journalism and in public relations. And I also have a master's in communications. I am currently a full-time politician and businessman. Well, from time immemorial, the legislature has always been a space where I wanted to participate in. Being a journalist, you want a place where you can do a lot of writing, a lot of speaking, a lot of communication. And I found the legislature as the best platform to do this. And so when it was time to contest, which also was by providence, I was able to get into the House of Reps. And then from there, the other place to go was to go to the Senate, which I enjoyed thoroughly because it gave me the opportunity to use my brain, to use my skills, to also be able to use my communication skills to get the job done. I said it so many times. My journey into politics was happenstance. I didn't go into it because I wanted it. I, like every other woman in politics, thought it was very dirty, not too good for women to be in it. But I had it thrusted on my laps because the community wanted me to contest, maybe because of a few things that I had done, and maybe because they didn't want a man, and that's my husband, to contest. So they asked that I should contest. And I came into politics from the very high end because there were not many women in politics. Very, very few women were in that space when I got in. And so it was easy to find women who you thought had capacity, and you just used them in positions that you thought they could work well in. And I was lucky in that. I was lucky. I was used in very many positions where I made an impact, and I moved on from there. When I started, I wanted to go to the House of Reps. There was an opening, and the state wasn't my state, but I lived where I contested. So I thought I could have a shot at it. I did, and I made a good showing. And so everybody felt, oh, for this young lady who has made such an impact, we needed to push her forward. So it was at a time when politics was not really on. It was still the military era. And the military was trying to experiment and see if the political atmosphere could change a bit. And we came back into the Abacha era, where we needed to come together again to form another political party. So I got into one, and when I got there, because I had contested, they pushed me up. I had to contest to be a national officer, and I contested to be a national publicity secretary, knowing fully well my background of journalism will carry through. And one thing led to the other after that. And it's been a checkered career. I've been through it all. I was publicity secretary of one party, and then there was dissolution. We merged into another party. I became publicity secretary again, and then we had a problem in that party. I went into my current party, the PDP, and the rest is history. Well, because I was headhunted, it wasn't quite difficult. It's not like now. At that time, there were very few women, like I said, and people were shopping for women because there was this great movement in the world that women must also put a foot in the door. And so everybody was busy scouting for women who could fill political spaces. And that was when I happened to get in. So the challenges were not really many because there were few of us. And those few people were used everywhere. Most of us were ministers, heads of parastatals, national officers, because they needed to also show, Nigeria needed to show good faith, to show that they were also bringing in more women into the political space. And so we were lucky. We had good men who lifted us up. I always tell people, my mentors were mainly men, good men who pulled me up and felt if I was out there, I would do much more than they could do. And so there wasn't, I didn't encounter too many bad influence. It was just that it came later when things got better and the space became open and more people got in. That was when the discrimination really started. As a female legislator, especially when I thought we should bring up the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill, there were just too many issues. The major one was that religion and ethnicity played a great part in whatever we were doing as a body. Everyone was up in arms as per the religion and their culture. People didn't want us to do anything against their belief system, and they didn't want anyone to tamper with religion. Religion came to the front burner when it shouldn't. And it made me know that I was a woman, because there were places I could no longer go into. I needed some faith leaders to lead us in some of the aspects. And we couldn't get them to do that because I am a woman, I cannot come in, I cannot do certain things. Those were very difficult times. And to crown it all, the women themselves did not believe in what we were doing, because they had been brought up in a culture, in a system that says you stay behind. You shouldn't push yourself forward. But sincerely, we weren't asking them to push themselves forward. We're just saying, let us see how we can also be part of the discourse, be part of the processes, be part of what is happening in the politics. But most of them didn't believe in it, and so it was an uphill task. It made you know that if it was a man that handled it, it would have been better handled. But they wouldn't have at least understood what the women felt. So it was a real problem. In Nigeria, the gender biases are constant and they don't go away. You just have to manage them. You just have to have a thick skin. You just have to be able to take it in your stride and move on. Gender biases are everywhere. When you are traveling, for instance, as a member of the National Assembly, some people feel, oh, we don't need a woman on this journey because the journey will be cumbersome. She will want to do things that we are not ready to be part of. If you are leading as a woman, you have a problem. You will find out that not more than 40% of the people you are leading are not following just because you are a woman. It's not because you are not capable. It's not because you don't have what it takes. It's just that they just cannot imagine a woman leading them. And it's there. It's a constant feature. Constantly, you find people make snide remarks. She's just a woman after all, and I have one at home. And that goes on and on and on. You just need to leave it up and take it in your stride and move on. There are times you need to go and cry quietly in your private space because you've really been injured. Your self-esteem has been injured. Your person has been injured. But it's a constant thing in our setting. And so you must learn to live with it, to manage it, to balance it, and once in a while, look back at them and give them a piece of your mind. Well, I had an issue in the Senate. I was in the escalator and the person didn't know who I was, or maybe he knew and didn't care. And I had chided him about what he was doing. I said, no, this is not all, you shouldn't do it. And the next thing was, a woman does not talk to me like that, and he slapped me. It was a terrible thing. But what could I have done? I took it in my stride. I came out, well, there were interventions, but that happened. And it happens to so many people too. It happens when you least expect it. Someone looks at you and says, a woman, how dare you? And they do funny things. And I took it in my stride. Well, I gave him the full length of my tongue, as usual, but that was the best I could do. Number one, I was physically not as strong. Number two, I was much more cultured. I couldn't do what he had done. You encounter such, and it was a very low point for me. Oh, so very many. When you impact on your people, you get to your community and you say, what do you need? And they say, if we can get a health center, and you are able to go and bring that, build it, equip it, hand it over to them, and they start to use it, and they come and tell you the first 5 children have been born in that facility, you feel fulfilled. You feel you have achieved. When you get people jobs that are good for them, jobs that match their hopes and aspirations, you feel fulfilled. There are several situations where people are ill and you're able to take care of them. I had a student who fell off a lorry. The parents could not fund his education. So on his way back from school, he could only take a lorry that was coming, an open lorry that carried logs of wood. The lorry had an accident. He fell and broke his spinal cord. And for years, he was taken everywhere. When I became a legislator, he reached out to me and said, this has been his situation. I took him to the hospital. We couldn't do much because we saw that it was a terminal thing. So I thought the best way to do it was to make his life a lot better. So opened a business for him. If you saw the smile on his face, the day he knew he could do something for himself, and then built a house for him to live in. And then he made my day when he said, you know what my parents cannot do for me? I am doing for them. I am providing shelter for my parents, even in my situation. Those are high points of our being in this business. It's a big pain that eventually passed on. But the house is there for his family. And he left a legacy. He left work for them to do. And when I think about it, think about the loss of that beautiful life. But I also think about his life is that he enjoyed the little time that we were able to help each other. And it has been like that for so many of us. And that is the joy you derive from it. Nothing more. I've championed several, and most of them only, in Nigeria. Championing a bill does not make it into a law. You can pass it at the legislature. But if the government does not believe in it, it will not be passed into law. And the beauty of any act is for it to be passed into law. I was part of the PIB that we passed. It took us so many years. But in the end, it was passed. It is to sanitize the petroleum industry because it was in shambles. I believe that the passage of it is very key to what we are experiencing now. We've not gotten the best out of it, but at least things are shaping up gradually. In all, I was able to pull through about 105 bills, and only, I think, about 3 or 4 got passed into law. One of them was the College of Education in my community, because my people believe only in education, and they believe if you have education, you have everything. So they wanted something to show that, for them to carry on. And we did it, we passed it into law. Unfortunately, again, it was not signed. It was not signed by the president. And when it's not signed, there's not much you can do about it. It was later changed and given to another community, but at least we did our best. There have been so many, and I've been out for some time, so it's not easy to remember them. The only thing that gives us joy, all of us that are in gender promotion, is that things are getting better. The space is getting wider. More women are coming in to believe in what we have been doing. Initially, most women did not believe in it. And when you are fighting for a group of people who don't believe in the fight, you have a greater fight to fight. So it was an uphill task. We were doing it, we were not getting too much results. But we have been lucky that a CSO pulled all the parties in Nigeria then. There were only three: the PDP, the APP, and the AG. The IRI and NDI came together and brought the three parties together and decided to take us somewhere, allow us to sit down and think through the political process. And we did. At that point, we saw that we were missing out because we were not interacting with each other. And so we came with different ideas how to put more people into positions in Nigeria. In the end, at the end of that process, the next election was when Nigeria got the greatest number of women in positions of authority and in the legislature. However, we lost it because most of us who were part of the process were already in other positions and there was no one to carry through. And that is where we are today. We've been falling behind since. But we're happy that more and more women are getting interested. And we believe the interest will bring more women into the space than ever before. You'll see young people now going around and wanting to contest to House of Assembly, the House of Representatives, and to the Senate, which I believe is a plus for all we have been able to do. Because at the time I came into politics, there were not many women. So I didn't get female mentors. I got good male mentors, elderly men who took me under their wings and impacted positively on me. In fact, I had a mentor, I don't want to mention his name, a great man who I learned from, who taught us to first love our community, love our people. He told us that it is the love of your people that can make you a better politician. He encouraged us to bring up people who didn't have education but were smart and can easily get educated. And I know that through me alone, he sponsored more than 11 young girls to schools in England. He took them free of cost and put them in schools. And he said, that's the best you can give to humanity. He also taught us that you must always feed your community. And at every time, whether there was election or not, he was buying things and we were going to share in a lorry, and everywhere he had his constituents. He loved his people. And so we also learned to love our people. He provided amenities for them to make life a lot better. And these were great men of honor who taught us how to do politics. They also taught us that politics must be played without bitterness, and that you don't know where you will meet each other, even if you are at different political positions right now. So we got to work with other people. We got to work at the grassroots. They taught us how to bring ordinary people. They taught us to learn that ordinary people were a mainstay. They are the ones that really hold the power of the box. And so we cultivated ordinary people. It's easy for me now. I can go anywhere and sit with anybody in the villages and eat with them. I can go into the markets and relate with the market women. Because of that, it's been easy for us to mingle with people. People think at times some of us are political. No. When we believe in a thing, we believe in it. But it does not stop us from mingling with other people, because my mentors taught me that politics is always evolving. And you must always learn. And to learn, you must always be with people. You must always interact. You must always also learn from other people's mistakes. So I had great mentors. They taught me well. And they taught me not to be abusive, not to be violent, not to think I'm a man, to also act my gender. And they taught me to hold on to my family. Then I wanted to contest to be National Publicity Secretary. I didn't have money. But the contest was to be at Eagle Square. And I was contesting against a money bag. It was my mentor that said, don't worry about money. You go talk to the people there. When the space of money comes, people will come up for you. And so I went out and lobbied and campaigned. And on that day, I stood there by my ballot box. And I think it's still the best election I've ever held, because it was a landslide victory. I won exceedingly. And everybody came to my aid because they felt I had the capacity. What I have found in politics is when people know that you have the capacity in our system, you will find someone who will want to push you. They want to put everything to support you. They want to teach you the intrigues. They want to teach you how to go. Because you must have a structured campaign. And if you're coming in, you won't know. You must know what to do. You must know who to go to. They also handed me over to other people who could also help in my movement upwards. Number one, don't let the social media be your gauge for political achievement. A lot of people think because there's social media now and they're popular on social media, so they're popular as politicians. No, that is not the gauge, because the human being will have to vote for you. Don't rely on social media. Two, don't do things on social media that will haunt you down the line. Because there are many things young people do now, and they forget that they will need to be a lot more senior in the future. You must not do those things. That is key to whatever you're going to do. Three, you must comport yourself in politics. You can't be quarrelsome. You can't fight everybody. You must take things in your stride and be able to come through with your beliefs. Four, you must learn to go into a political party where you know you have a mentor that can also speak for you. A political party whose ideology meets the basics of your own ideology or principles, and in which you can grow. You must also be above board. Because in this business, people come up with whatever you have done in the past. So it's good to live above board. If you are a married person, keep your marriage. Because these things go up and come down. Your backup will always be your family. Family is key. Again, you must be honest. 4 times harder working than any man. Because they will throw at you things that you can never achieve, but you must achieve. And so you must work harder. You must be prepared. You must know that in everything else, violence should not be your forte. You should be a caregiver. You must be a pacifier. You must be able to move around your constituents and be able to bring them together so they can work for you. There are so many things to do, but you must have focus. You must know where you are going. You must not take on more than you need to. And you must be prayerful. If you put God in it, you'll be able to achieve. Qualities that are essential for anyone coming into politics are very simple. Hard work, honesty, a focus, great focus on what you want to do. And you need skills in communication. You must be able to communicate. You must be able to mobilize. You must be able to convince. You must be able to tell people what you are thinking about. Many people have a deficiency convincing people. That skill must be honed in you for you as a female to be in politics. And beyond it all, you must be amiable. You must be able to draw good people onto yourself and work amongst them to find a balance. That is key for any woman that is coming into politics. We're evolving. Women are now participating. Women are now interested. At a point, there was no interest because all our husbands were against it. Every husband felt, ooh, my wife in politics? No, that's dirty, that's filthy. But the men themselves have seen that for you to make a difference, you need to come into the fray. You need to come in and change the narratives. And so many more women are coming in to change the narratives. And the more we have, the better our chances of putting women where they should be. Right now, you cannot say you need 10 engineers to be minister and you won't find 50. You cannot say in the political space that you want 50 architects and you won't get them. You cannot say you want mass comm experts and you won't get them. So we're evolving. We're doing great. All we need are laws that will back what we are doing to ensure that we remain in that space. Because for us to be strong there, we need the backing of the law. And that's why we're advocating. We are saying all CSOs, all well-meaning men should back us, give us the necessary impetus for us to remain there and to make the great difference, because we're not only mothers, we're wives, we're sisters. I mean, that is about all it takes for the family to be shaped, and we're caregivers. So it's important for us to be able to maintain the momentum, to ensure that we don't lose again, and we can build from there. I want political parties to deliberately push women forward. To say, we have an election. This election, we want 6 women to contest one particular election. At least we know that one of them will get elected. We have to be deliberate. We have to ensure that more women come into this space. I want political parties to do that. If all political parties agree on that, that will be a given. I want governments in position in the states, at the local government levels, at the national level, to deliberately insist that at every turn we must have this number of women. And it can be done. We can do it. We just need the political will. I want the political will at all levels to ensure that we bring in young females. If you look at it in Nigeria right now, more women are doing better. When you put together people who have gotten first class in most universities, the women will be 75%. When you say those who have done well and have gotten the PhD, women will be 80%. So why don't we encourage them? In all spheres of life, in banking, anywhere, look at them. The women are doing well. If they are doing well and we encourage them further, you will see that this country will be a better place in the future. I see a future for women. And I know we're going to be great support base for the men. We're not going to push them out. We're just going to support them and make sure they succeed better. Well, they are doing well right now. They are doing a lot. But the time to start for the next election is now. They usually start too late towards the elections. The time to start is now, to help people mobilize, to help people build structures within their communities, within their states, so that they can leverage on those structures for future participation in politics. But if you start late, and it is when a person says, I want to be House of Assembly, that you start working, it becomes too late. But if you build her a structure now, she doesn't have to even go to the State Assembly or anywhere. She could use the structure for some other woman. And that other woman will be able to do more than what she also can do. We need government to help young people build structures, teach them skills to mobilize people, teach them how to impart on their communities, teach them what to do when it is time for political participation, encourage them to get into their parties at the lowest level. Imagine if you have so many women at the ward level. There are many at home. Let's encourage them to get into the political parties, and so they can also help all of us. I believe if government starts that, if the CSOs complement, we will be able to form formidable structures before the next general elections. I have only one motto, and it is, for everyone that comes into my home in agony, the person must go out in extreme joy. And that has been, I have always told anybody, when you come into my place in pains, I must be able to alleviate it up to a point where you must be happy to go back. And I live by it. I always want everybody around me to be happy. I always want to lift them up. I always want them to be in high spirits, because money is not everything. For me to go into politics in my state, I was politicking in Ogun State where I lived. I lived on the boundary of Lagos State, Ajo, and so I was politicking there. For me to politic in my state, I had to leave my political party, the APP, for some reasons, and came into the PDP. When I came into the PDP, I was told I had to go home. And I was told it was going to be an election. We were going to elect a governor. And I didn't know who it was. But because I had come from the top level, from a political party, I was asked to go and observe the person who was to be the candidate. I went. I observed, and I came and made my recommendations. When I made my recommendations, the party accepted it because they felt I was unbiased and it looked plausible. So they gave the ticket to the gentleman. When the gentleman was taking the ticket, he asked that I should leave Abuja and come back to my state. So I went back to my state with him, and we went through the elections together, and he won. After he won, he wanted to make me a commissioner because he thought I had done so much, I needed to get a position. Unfortunately, there was a gentleman older than me who almost lost his life in his community, in that our community, fighting for the new governor. But the governor was hell-bent on making me the commissioner. Eventually, I told him, I said, my day will come. My time will come. This man that nearly lost his life must be part of this government. And so he became a part of the government. And then I had nothing to do, but he insisted I should not go away. And so I stayed. I did all sorts of, I was a hands-on person. And being hands-on person was what made me special assistant to the governor. Eventually, I went to the House of Reps. Eventually, I became the deputy governor. So it was profound. It was unimaginable that comportment whereby I insisted that somebody who had worked harder than me, should be taken, was what now opened the space for me to be what I am today. It's an important mileage in my checkered career, and I don't seem to ever forget it. Politics is an ongoing thing. It's work in progress. It's not something you can finish in one day and say, I'm out. You can see all the elderly. You can see Joe Biden. All of them are still in it because they still believe there's something to give back. I believe I can still give a lot back to my community. I can still give a lot back to my country. And I still believe that the future will be better. Future generation female leaders, my advice, be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Ensure that your focus is not blurred at all. Know what you want out of politics. Know what you want out of leadership. And be able to impart on your people. You must give back to your people, because being in a position of authority is not given. You have wrestled it. When you wrestle it, you must use it for their good. And when you use it for their good, they will always cherish you. They will always love you. They will always give you greater things to do and achieve for them. I have done quite a bit in my constituents. I have given them roads, I've given them hospitals, schools. I have empowered so many. I have given water through boreholes. I think I have done about 147 in my senatorial district. I believe what they can do to support me is to use those facilities well. Use them well, own them, so that whenever we see them, we don't see them rot away. We don't see them unused. We see that people are benefiting from the little we are able to give. That is what will give a person like me joy. Is what will give me the impetus to do more. When I see that the little we've been able to do is being put into proper use, and it's not discarded or it becomes moribund. If our people are able to own what we do for them, the future will be better. And I believe they will always remember us when they use such facilities.